We're like in Vogue. Strike the pose. Hi guys. I don't know if we're live yet, but if we are live, hello and welcome to Show Up and Stand Out with Juliet Stapleton, and it's an online visibility expert series for entrepreneurs. And the best person to have on my show today is, of course, my wonderful friend, my best friend from Canada, and someone who will definitely, if I wasn't already married, I would consider marrying her because she's the only choice outside my husband.
I would marry you back, Juliet. I would marry you
Definitely,
back.
definitely. And this is Paloma Lev, guys. Paloma, welcome to my show. I am so delighted to have you. We have such a brilliant subject for you today, guys. You are going to love it. Hi, Kim. So we are going to talk today about the confidence, and we have the Queen of Confidence here, and visibility, and that's sort of me. I'm sort of getting into the Queen. I'm taking over the world slowly but surely. So this is an interesting subject for me. How are you today, Paloma? Before we start.
I am really good because I am trying to make myself drink a green smoothie every morning. And today, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it was a little bit more like a gray smoothie because I didn't have a lot of kale left. And so it mixed with the orange weird. But I drank it, and so I'm feeling good. How are you feeling today?
I'm very sad today because my lovely doggy, Harry, who is my baby for the last 8 years, and it's his last days. So, or maybe hopefully it's not the last days, but it's definitely the end, and we had to take him to the vet, and he has some things with his heart, and he's here, guys. Look, he's here still. He's sleeping there, poor thing. And I really hope that he will get over this and stay with us for a little bit. And it's very sad because like Harry is the most loving dog. The amount of love this dog gave us over the years. We adopted him 8 years ago. Literally 4 days ago was the anniversary. 8 years ago, he's a rescue staffy, and he's just the most loving dog. And just to hear that he has problems with his heart, the heart that gave us so much love over these years is really heartbreaking. So I have great emotions that I'm talking to Paloma because I love her dearly, and I have a little sadness here because Harry is not well. So that's how my day is going. But you know what? This is great because we have to face our sometimes tough moments in life, and this is not the first time, and it's not going to be the last time.
It's interesting that you say this because a lot of the time we have to show up, which is a good thing. We have to show up, but also in the background we have our life going on, and the fluxes of being a human.
Yeah.
And so, I think the lovely thing is you don't have to fake it. Like I've always been kind of allergic to this phrase, fake it till you make it. Because it's a very outward, a little bit of a superficial understanding of what confidence is. And I think that most audiences appreciate realness. Like if you're having a tough day, they would rather you say I'm having a tough day than be like, I'm doing great, and like plaster a face.
Yeah, and you can see we're crying all day.
Pull it up,
My view on this is I don't fake, but I do have an ability to pull myself together and do what needs to be done. Last year, we had a horrible challenge last year when my husband was diagnosed with cancer. And that's how I started this business, online business, because, I started showing up and doing it. But it wasn't the mask that I was wearing. It was more the way to channel this energy, because I didn't want to channel any energy towards diseases, cancer, falling apart. And you have to channel your energy. If you have that overwhelm, you need to challenge it into positive route. So that's what I did last year, and look where we are here now. And my husband is fine, by the way. So it all worked out. We gave no energy to the C words, and and it worked. It's law of attraction. So I'm delighted. And this is now the second kind of hardship in our family since then, and it's little Harry, but he is 10 years old, and it might be the time. So, and also that might mean, if we're being very honest, that I will be absolutely location free, because the dog at the moment is the only thing that really ties me in Ireland, because he is a dangerous breed, what they call. So it's even transporting him, I can't put him in the car and then drive, let's say, through England, through France. I have to have so much hassle to bring this dog just because somebody decided that his breed is not good enough. And
Yeah.
he is the most, like, he doesn't have any aggressive bones in his body, you know, he's the nicest dog ever. But this is something that if I had a ticket tomorrow to pack and go to Spain or live somewhere in the land of my dreams, right? I couldn't because of Harry. So what's happening now is,
It's kind of remarkable how sometimes a tragedy leads to a kind of new rebirth kind of thing, you know? When I broke my knee, it was super, super painful. I had to have metal pins put in. I was in the middle of doing my master's in English and creative writing. And I was in my second year, and I was almost done this thing. And the remarkable part of it is that it started my online business because of the fact that I was fully booked with clients. I was 19, working one-on-one with amazing people from, you know, all different places who landed in Toronto, right? But I didn't have this understanding that you could have clients everywhere in the world if you worked online. And the whole online thing was like a whole new adventure for me. But when you have to, you know, they say a crisis is just a dangerous opportunity. When you have to evolve, you evolve. And so it began the beginning of this incredible journey of meeting these remarkable people from around the world, having clients around the world now that I get to work with from the comfort of my home and from the comfort of wherever in the world they are. And so, you know, I have this philosophy, pain to projects. If you're in a kind of pain, find some kind of project to make it meaningful. And bring other people along the way.
That's the story of my life. I've started the business from the painful point. I cried for one day. Then I listened to Desiree, You Gotta Be Strong song for a day. And I was strong after that. And I met so many amazing people, including you, Paloma. And really inspirational. I actually haven't had friends before this. And now I have so many friends. And they're not here. They're online. They're somewhere there.
About that? So I started putting on entrepreneur parties, right? So I did one in New York. I've done 10 online. I just did my first in Toronto. And I have all my amazing entrepreneur friends from around the world that I want to bring. Like, guys, I'm doing entrepreneur parties on Saturdays. Like, freaking come to Toronto. You can sleep on my couch and like hang out with us. So I'd love to ask you, Juliette, because we were talking just before we pressed record. We were talking, okay, guys, what are we going to share with our peeps today? And you were saying that when it comes to visibility, it seems that confidence is one of the biggest blocking points for your clients and for our people in our world.
For many people, yes. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And what specifically is the pain there?
Well, I think that we have to look a little bit deeper into, they think it's a confidence issue, but it's not really that much of a confidence issue because with practice, anything, you know, like if you feel a resistance and you don't want to do something, it's not necessarily that you're not confident that you're not going to do it. Because if somebody put a gun to your head, you will do it and you'll do a good job, right? So that means that you can do it. But this resistance in your head, you know, stops you from moving forward. So a lot of people mistake it for a confidence issue. They say, I'm not confident enough to go on camera and talk, you know, talk. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, so I don't have confidence in this. I don't have confidence in the fact that I'm going to be consistent. I don't have confidence. But actually, I think that this has nothing to do with the confidence. It has to do with this laziness that's a little part of our brains has. Yes. And it's not a laziness in a bad sense in a way. It's just literally our brain is trying to protect us from burning too many calories by facing our fears or facing some sort of situation that will make us feel uncomfortable, you know. Right. So that's, I really truly believe that's all it is. But by saying that doesn't mean that I have completely overcome that lazy little brain that I have, you know. I find that
the interesting thing about that is, so Juliette and I were talking about this in advance. So she's more on the side of believing it's laziness. I actually believe it comes from a place of fear. And so we might have to debate this one out. Yes. But in my perspective, it comes down to a resistance to the good a lot of the time. And so, you know, a lot of the time we are afraid of bad things happening. We're also afraid of good things happening. And there's actually a word for that, surprisingly enough, cherophobia, a fear of happiness. And this is something that kind of blew my mind when I figured this out. People believe that if only this thing would fall in my lap, if only the clients would fall in my lap, suddenly everything would be all right. I have seen people, I have helped facilitate connections. I have helped facilitate opportunities. I have put people in the way of a wonderful influencer. I have referred people to people, and they say no thanks. Not because they don't want it. Oh, they badly want it. They say no thanks because they are terrified. They are terrified. This happened yesterday. I have a good friend who does a really good job at his service. He's not the most confident person in the world. I have someone who could really use his service. I connected the two of them, and he messaged me, Paloma, I'm not sure if I want to say yes to this guy. I feel really nervous. And you know, the crazy thing is, fear is not a reason to exempt yourself from, from the responsibility to step up and do what you have to do. Do what you have within you, right? And so it's, if anything, it's a call to action. Like, I have become a person that when I feel that resistance, I massage that resistance, I ask that resistance questions, I keep my notebook beside me at all times, and I write to it, and I ask the fear questions. I think that people are really freaking afraid, and they like to believe, oh, I'm just lazy, I'm just procrastinating. There are things that you do every day that you're not, like, lazy about at all, because you feel that you can do them well and you enjoy them, right? But I think we tie so much pressure, like, I have to close this client, I have to XYZ. And it's really hurting you, and so you have to massage the resistance. And I found that when people go on their confidence journeys, they're able to give more. It's not just about receiving more. Yes, you will receive more, okay? The last couple months for me have been really freaking delicious. Last year has been amazing in those respects, okay? So when you're able to give more, you can receive more, but it's not always a problem of receiving. Sometimes you don't know how to give, and sometimes you don't know how to receive. So both of those are areas to look at.
This is interesting. I can totally relate to this, because I will tell you, especially before last year, for example, there was a pattern. Let's say a new client comes to my agency and says, I need a website, and I'd be like, oh, great, there's my quote. They say, yeah, that's no problem at all. And we start working. So you'd think that, I'd go in, design a beautiful website for them, then send my invoice, and that, they pay and everything. From day one, I would have been worried that they don't pay me. Yeah. And I would be like, okay, when exactly are they going to pay me? Exactly. I need to know the day and the time, and I need to know, and I need to have a guarantee this is going to happen. Because if they don't pay me, how am I going to enjoy this? And I am literally, from moment one, like, we shook hands, and this is what's in my head, because I absolutely hate chasing people for money, and that's why I like my online business now, because it's kind of like a prepaid. You buy the course, it's not. I don't have to chase anybody, and I'm not going to. It's not in my ideal client avatar sort of description. Yeah. But this was a pattern. So what happens then is that you repel this, and things fell apart. And some of those clients definitely, I had to chase, or they just fell apart and disappeared. And
yeah, that's something that I've worked with clients on before too, is lack of price confidence. Yeah. And a lot of the time, you say that your clients don't have money, a lot of the time there is an anxiety, a price anxiety, a numbers anxiety, a money anxiety. And that translates. People are so smart and so perceptive. They perceive things about you that you're not even saying verbally. They experience you. Yeah. And experiencing you can either translate that anxiety or you can translate that confidence to them, right? When you name a big number, if you're scared of it, they're scared of it. You say, that's what it is, you'd be so fucking lucky if you had it.
Yeah. No, it's all about how you say it. And you know what? It's not all about even how you say it, because you can be lying to yourself, But it's like kids and dogs, and they all sense, you have to really believe it, and you actually have to almost not care. When I don't care, everything comes. The moment I start caring and worrying and thinking about it, no matter how confident I might come across, I know I'm worrying about it. I know things are not so easy, and nothing happens. So it's like...
The thing is, there's actually like a neurological response to someone else's desperation. I believe it's the amygdala that sort of like gets freaked out when someone leans in too much. Let's say you go on a date, they text you like 40 times after. You're like, I'm scared, for a reason. Because it's classic supply and demand. If you go to a store and they're like following you too much and they're chasing you, our natural human response is to leave. It could be the nicest, coolest store, but have you guys ever had that experience? They just like follow you around and like ask if you need help like a million times. You feel like claustrophobic and like, get away from me, and you need to leave. Okay, if they lean back a bit and they're confident in what they have. You're there for them if you have questions, but we don't have that intense desperation. You need to start from a fundamental okayness. Even if you have friggin' $0 in your account, if you have 100,000, if you have 2 million, if you have 10 million, there are people who have 500 million in their account and they don't have that fundamental okayness, right? Yeah. And if you develop that fundamental okayness, that you have conversations with your prospects and your clients, and you are not so attached to the result. Like, I would love you to like me, but I don't need you to like me. And I would love the person that I get on the phone with that I think would be a great client. I would love them to say hell yes. But if they don't, they're lost, because I have a ton of people who are interested, right? And so when you start from that fundamental okayness, that's work you got to do on yourself, friends. Like, there's no outsourcing. Everyone wants to outsource everything. Yes, it's lovely, delegate. But you cannot outsource confidence, and you cannot outsource selling yourself. You can't. Nobody's going to fight on your own behalf in the same way as you will when you are convinced that what you have can really enlighten and help and transform people.
I think this is the biggest trap that people have, especially when they're either in the startup stage, or if they're stuck in the startup stage, because you're afraid that every time that something comes in, some sort of prospect, and there's potentially an earning there, you're afraid that if you say no, then you will lose out. But you never lose out. And it's true. When you almost have a feeling like, no, I don't need this client. In fact, a lot of clients I have worked with for years, the ones that were the longest ones, they'd be the ones that I either rejected at the beginning, or kind of almost sent somewhere else, and then they came back and said, no, we want to work with you. And I was like, well, okay, well, fine, let's meet. And I didn't really care, and then it ended up very, very good for me, because I worked with them for years, and I still do with some. So this is something but it's very difficult when you're in a position of frustration, especially financial frustration. How do you create this I don't care attitude? And it took me years. That
is such a wonderful question, because it's very easy to say don't be needy, don't be desperate. But if you're needy and desperate, and there's sometimes that there's like a financial experience, I'm sure, where people are really at that cusp. I know it is easier said than done. You need to dig so freaking deep. But Tony Robbins tells this story before he got so famous and, has impacted so many lives. He tells the story of having like $11 in his account. I know we've all heard those like cliche stories, but he tells the story about having like $11 in his account. And I'm going to butcher the story, but you guys go look it up. Essentially, he sees this like young man like taking his mother out on a date, like an 11-year-old kid who like is paying for his mom to go on a date with her, and like and he thought it was so elegant and lovely of this kid that he did that, and he was feeling so sorry. He was feeling sorry for himself that day. He was feeling poor. He was feeling like he had nothing to give. He was feeling shitty, and he tells the story of he went to his bank account, took out his last $11 and some change in his pocket, and gave everything to this little kid, and took him aside and just gave it to him. And the kid was delighted. And at that moment, he said, I have never felt wealthier. I have never felt wealthier than when I had literally $0 in my account. The beautiful thing is, okay, listen, if you can choose between having money and not having money, choose having money, okay? But if you seek to be $1 million person rather than a millionaire, meaning you have built so much equity in yourself, in your brand, you have helped so many people, you have worked with so many clients, you have built so many connections and friends in the field. You have a kind of fundamental equity in yourself. And by the way, when you have a core confidence, not just the bullshit confidence, like a deep, I respect myself, I know myself, I understand myself, I'm working on myself, I'm self-aware, I'm introspective, I care for myself, I set healthy boundaries, that kind of confidence, then yes, it is absolutely possible to make outside of you what you have within you, but you cannot make outside of you what you don't already have within you. And so you must work on becoming $1 million person. And the exact same advice is given for dating, right? They're like, I want to find my Mr. Right or my Mrs. Right. I want to find my perfect 10. Well, are you the perfect 10? Like, I want, are you the person that would attract the person that you want? You know what I mean?
I have a whole issue with that. As someone who have met my other half, and he is no way he is a perfect 10 for me. If you asked me before I met him, but he is.
If you're watching, husband, drop a comment.
He is not watching. No, we're like opposites attract, but we also share so much on the part that overlaps. But I really think that, you know, when we need. This is what I've noticed in my 40 years, right? Yeah. If you want something and you start planning it what you want, you are going to get it, but in a completely different way than you imagined.
Interesting.
So I wanted to immigrate, and I was thinking about that I'm going to live abroad, and I was looking at Paris. I almost immigrated to Paris, had my suitcases packed, then it just fell through. Then I thought I'm immigrating to London. Little did I know that 18 years I'll be here in Ireland. The arsehole of Europe, and you know, nothing is happening, and I didn't even plan for this, but I wanted to immigrate, so the life sort of gave me the immigration, you know, but it didn't give it to me. So when you have this kind of perfect 10, I want to have my perfect other half, it's not even, it's the fact that you don't know until you meet that person how perfect it's going to be, no matter how imperfect it might seem, even in the process, because it's not about perfection. So I'm very passionate about this whole thing. Mr. Right, you'll know, when I met my husband, he was not, we were not in romantic relationships. We were, I was a student in his course. He was a music production lecturer and in a college. So, but I met him, and from the day one, I was talking about him to everybody. I didn't know why, but this person was so important to me. It's not even funny. And only 6 months later, then when he showed some interest to me, I was like, whoa, hang on a second. You are too important to me to have romantic relationships with you. And that's how it's happened, and he proposed on the first date, and we got married 13 years later.
Nuts. Well, it just goes to show that risk is really important, taking a little bit of risk. And it is really a circular thing when it comes to confidence and risk and putting yourself out there. You take risks, it makes you feel more confident.
Yes.
You feel more confident, you take more risks.
Oh,
right?
yes. And then you're enjoying it.
I feel like there's a lot of shame, honestly, in the entrepreneurial community. That there's the visibility, there's the what people see of other people, and then there's the private shame of I'm not measuring up. The private shame of I could be doing more, I should be doing more, but I'm feeling scared, so I'm not putting myself out there how I want, so I'm not getting the rewards, but I still have to do this front-facing show. And the amazing thing is, when you start taking these risks for yourself, right? I mean, so many things in my life I've done, not for other people's approval, because I genuinely wanted to become better at them, right? We have these frontiers of ourself. This area that we're pushing that is painful and hard. I have that frontier when it comes to, honestly, like, going to sleep early enough and freaking, like, organizing shit. And, like, I have my frontiers that I'm pushing. Automating, like, so many amazing things have been happening in the last year. I need to figure out a way to handle this mass influx of people who are interested, right? But the amazing thing is when you get a little bit more, like, listen, you can't be comfortable. You don't get to be comfortable. People say, I'm not comfortable with it yet, so I won't do it.
Yes, that's right.
You don't get to be comfortable. Like, I don't know how many times I like bold that, underline that, italicize that, exclamation mark that. You don't get to be comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. I've been fucking uncomfortable for the last 7 years I've been doing this, but in a remarkable way. Joyful, peaceful, excited, energized, engaged, loving my work, loving my clients. But I've never been freaking comfortable. I've never been like, oh, that's enough. Like, I'm done growing. Like, you think that if you get to from the 0 to there's two kinds of groups of entrepreneurs. The 0 to 1, which is like trying to get their first taste of success, right? And then you have your 1 to 10 who are like, yes, we've done a lot, but we want to get to the next level. And you're never comfortable. And so if you're doing something that you feel uncomfortable doing, wonderful. My clients say oh, I'm nervous to do that. I say, wonderful. Great. I'll guide you through the process. I'm glad that we found something that feels uncomfortable. It means it's worth doing, really.
But if you're watching influencers who are maybe way above you, and I'm sure everyone has a few people that they're really fond of, but look at them. Yeah. Like for example, let's just talk about somebody we do know, like Arnie Giske, right? Arnie has a group, 45,000 members now. He's doing very well selling his group course. He's doing very well offering coaching and everything. And what do I see when I watch Arnie's, let's say, I follow Arnie as well. I see somebody who is constantly trying to push himself and get out of his comfort zone. And you can read that in his in his post. You can see that. You know, and you would ask yourself, like, why would somebody who's already can afford traveling the world and, you know, working from his backpack and you know, enjoying life, you know, why is he doing that? Is this just keep doing what you're doing and enjoy it? But it doesn't work like this, because I think that you kind of develop a little bit of an addiction to taking risks. And if I can do more? I love that. I think there was actually a post by Arnie Giskis talking about him and the state of abundance and how he wants more because you can.
It's a game, guys. It's a game. Like, at the end of the day, you want to see how far you can go. And if you're not satisfied with where you are, I have a sneaking suspicion you are not putting yourself out there enough, boldly enough, taking enough risks in your writing, in your speaking. If you don't feel a little bit nervous when you're negotiating, you're leaving money on the table. If you don't feel a little bit nervous when you're writing a post, you're not saying something important. If you don't feel a little bit nervous when you're giving a presentation, then nobody's paying attention, okay? So it really, like, find that edge. And it's just like when you get a really good massage, they fucking push on the parts of your back that freaking hurt, right? Oh my God, I went for a massage recently. This woman was like killing my back, like killing me. It was like, you know, your lower back is you like sit on, do work on your computer all day, right? And
I know.
I don't think I even told her. I was like, ow. And she's like, yes, good.
Good, yes.
Yes, good. And it's kind of like that when, you know, when you hire a coach, you're not hiring them to like kiss you on the forehead and say good job. You're hiring them to lovingly make you uncomfortable, lovingly push your boundaries so that you can get to the next level. And the thing is, you'll never get to the point where you're like, okay, that was enough. Because you'll realize, like my grandfather, he was a math professor, right? He was brilliant, like very gifted. And still, I said to him, like, oh, you're so smart. Like, why? Even in his like late 70s, he was still working on these crazy math problems. And I was like, yo, why are you still working so hard on that? So the more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything. And he was like, he was working until the day he passed away, you know?
Wow.
He was still engaged and excited and interested. I remember even asking him, his name was Uri. I remember asking him, I don't know if he was like 80 something. And I said, you've lived a long time, Grandpa. Like, what is the meaning of this all? Or what kind of advice would you like give a young 20 something? And he said, pick work that you love. Like, just pick good work, because that takes the majority of your life. And what I want for people is that they are brave and confident enough that their work is also their life's work.
Yes.
It's not just building someone else's dream. And if that fits in with your growth and your desire and your interest and your curiosity, wonderful. But if you feel dead, if you feel like a zombie, if you don't feel like there's a fire lit under your ass, if you don't feel like your heart is pumping every day, nervous, then perhaps you're missing out on something more exciting and more powerful. Like, I did 10 online entrepreneur parties, and first that made me nervous. I did it up to 10, and it was amazing. Then I was like, okay, now I want to do in-person one, because that's the next thing that makes me nervous. Now I did my first one, and I'm like, great, next. Same with pricing. I always like price high. And first of all, I know that I'm worth it, and you live up to your prices. Like, you push yourself to give a ton. But always give yourself a salary increase. Always figure out how you can give more, how you can play harder, how you can, you know, this doesn't mean like kill yourself for this game, but know yourself and inspire yourself and kick yourself in the butt. And like, if you're afraid, then enlist someone to help you feel less afraid, or to feel the fear and do it anyways, right?
Yes, that's my kind of thing. That's how I prefer. I'm afraid of everything, and I just still have to do it. And I know the thing that keeps me going with everything is that I know I'm going to do it. I don't know how. I don't know how long it's going to take me. It might actually take me overnight. That immigration that I mentioned before, it was a dream, nothing. All of a sudden, an email came in. Would you like to play on the festival? We had a band. And they paid for my immigration, basically, for the trip. And the actual ticket was the most expensive part at that stage, you know. So that was something that was stopping me from just buying a ticket and going.
Wow.
So it happened like this when I didn't expect it, when I was settling in, comfortable position, had a good job, everything. And it's just happened. So that's why whatever I do, even if I'm afraid, and even if whether I feel like I'm lazy and I need to do more, or maybe I'm afraid what can happen if I get all these things, to me, it's that thing that I know, this knowledge deep down in my gut, it's going to happen. And I think that this what separates, people are saying, this online business, when you're in the online business, like how much can you be mocking around before you start making money? Because it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. People who are claiming that they had an overnight success, often they had already businesses before that maybe failed or didn't fail, but didn't, So what separates, in my opinion, is this thing that you're going to make it and you just keep doing it. And then when you don't expect...
treat it like it's a done deal. Treat it like it's a done deal. If you want this thing, you can have this thing. And so many people don't believe it. They think that other people have some special, like we're all having a special secret meeting without you. Yes. That's not true. We're not all having a special secret meeting without you. And, I'd love to tell like 2 quick stories of 2 of my clients and tell you why they succeeded and kind of a pain that they had along the way. So one of my clients, let's call her, give me a name.
Mary.
Okay.
I'm in Ireland.
Mary had been an employee her whole life, and she was making the transition to being an online entrepreneur, okay? It is not easy. We all know it's scary, right? Well, we had been working together intensively for about 4 months, and she was finally getting her first couple clients, right? And, she thought that was the threshold. She thought that was like, okay, once you finally get the money, then it's like, pat yourself on the back, go like, And yet, she told me, I feel paralyzed with fear now. She considers herself a perfectionist, and she had the money in her account. You get them to prepay. You had the money in her account, and now just to deliver the thing, she was terrified. She was like, I don't know. Like, I look up to all these people, and I feel like, what if I don't give enough, and what if I'm not enough, and what if they're disappointed, and what if they reject me, and what if I'm embarrassed, and all these things. And I said to her, like, darling, everyone is scared. Everyone is scared. And your confidence is part of the service. They badly need, okay, when you hire someone and they don't step up as what I call the CLOP, confident leader of process. When they don't step up as confident leader of process, you feel like you were cheated.
Yeah.
So what you need is they hand you the money and then you say, okay, congratulations. You just took a big step for yourself. You should be proud of yourself and help them to feel good because they just made a scary decision. Okay. They're feeling scared. And then you say, okay, darling, let me map out for you what's going to happen. Let me show you the method. Let me show you the way. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. If you have questions, I'm here for you. I'm not going to leave with your money and say, haha, goodbye forever, right? And then you take them through a loving process. Yes, it's collaborative, right? Yes, you get their input. Yes, you explore what their pain points are and you help them with that. But you have to step up if it's confident leader of process. And if you don't, a confident service is worth more than one that is not confident, right? I was giving the example of, did we talk about this before? Like the Michelin star restaurant example?
No.
Okay. You know the Michelin star rating?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, for anybody who doesn't know, how would you explain it?
Oh my God! Now I have to explain. Well, it's one of the top kind of awards or ratings for how good your restaurant, your food is, and how sophisticated your food. And you can have 1, 2, 3. I don't think that there's 4.
I think it's
3. Well, I think is the top. If
somebody knows in the comments, let us know if it's 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, I know only of 3.
Okay. And so if it's like even 2 stars, though, it's like world class.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
it's the whole experience.
Star.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's an experience. Yes, that's an important point. As an experience, when it gets to the point of being 1, 2, or 3 stars, it's an experience. It's not just throwing a slab of food on your plate. It's a well curated experience. And that's what we need to be providing our clients, a well-curated experience, right? So just imagine, do this thought experiment. You saved up for like 4 months to go to this 3-star Michelin star restaurant, okay? You know this dinner's going to be thousands and thousands of bucks, but you're excited for it, right? You come into the restaurant and they say, hey, where do you want to sit? You're like, oh, okay, over here. and they say, do you want us to serve you on a bowl or a plate or a cutting board? And you're like, a plate? And they're like, okay, when we cook your steak, like, did you want us to chop it up, or did you just want it how it is, or did you want to just come to the back and pick your, like, did you want it with ketchup or mustard, or do you like it salty or not? And you're like, what the fuck? You feel like you've been ripped off. Why? What is wrong with that service, Juliet? If they say to you, do you want this or this, this or this, this or this, this or this?
Because there is no process and there is no confidence behind it. You're there to just come in and experience this the way they lay it out for you. You're not there to make decisions. Except for steak or fish. And I hope that, on this lovely note, Paloma just froze and left me at that. You just froze and left me at that answer. You were like...
But it was on purpose. I just had to, hashtag delay gratification. Okay. So I remember I actually made dinner for a client once because she was in the area, and I was like, come over, I'll make you dinner. And she was like, you cook in such an interesting way. She really liked it, but she was like, I would have never put these two flavors together. And she was like, this is like a confident meal. And I know it sounds weird to say, but essentially as a leader, you are going to be making stylistic decisions. Stylistic decisions in your method, in your process, in the way that you articulate your teachings to your clients, right? In your analogies you use, in the way that you can, in your language, in your style, in your visual representation. You're making stylistic choices the whole way through. And if those are kind of like halfway choices, if you're like trying to do shades of gray because you're scared of making a statement, nobody will pay attention. And so if you're the Michelin star restaurant that's saying, I'm not sure, do you want this or that? No. You came to me and you trusted me, and I take that trust very seriously. You are of course important. I of course care what you think. But I am going to step up as the leader because I have a vision for you even bigger than you have for yourself. I have goals for you and desires for you even bigger than you have for yourself. So I'm going to lead you. And, sometimes they're like, really? I'm going to charge that much? I'm like, yeah. And then a year from now, you're going to add a zero to all your prices, okay? Like, you just have to be even more confident, even more a couple steps ahead so that you can say, listen, we don't have all the answers. I have a lot of people who I'm teaching them how to coach, right? And they say, but Paloma, what if I don't have the answers? Your client is not paying you for the answers. Juliet, imagine if you came to me and you're like, how do I become more confident? And I was like, take more risks. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
You're like, that's not what you're paying me. You're not paying me for the answers. You're not paying me for the information. You're paying me for a confident leadership through your transformation, which means I will be in the trenches with you and I will figure it out with you. Right? As opposed to it being like, what if I don't have the answers? You don't have to have the answers. You have to have a system. You have to have a process. You have to have, of course, expertise. Duh. That's your ticket to get in the game. Of course, we're talking to people who are experts. Side note, if you're watching this and you are not an expert in a certain zone, then don't sell your shit. Learn how to give well first. Do mock coaching first. Do some practice giving first. This is all premised on, we work with people who are talented. I work with people who are talented, who are good at what they do, who know what they want, who sometimes feel stuck and afraid, but they're ready to step out of their comfort zone and want some loving guidance in that direction, who want to communicate confidently, right? So anyways, I get really passionate about this.
Well, that's very good, because you know what you just said, guys, if you were, for example, saying, I can't afford one-on-one coaching. I tell you my example, I can follow people, I can fall in love with a lot of leaders, but if I don't avail of their one-to-one coaching where they do exactly what Paloma just said, take me through this transformation with them, I get actually just confused. I get confused from the advice. I don't have clarity. And I sometimes found in the past that I couldn't figure out things on my own. But it's only when I invested into one-on-one coaching, when the person actually said, okay, well, let's just talk it, because I'm very good at brainstorming. I'm very good at bouncing ideas, but I'm not that great at finding that direction on my own completely. Right. And that's what separates if you're going and, you're following something, you're maybe doing some sort of something on a lower end package, membership group or something, and you're expecting huge results from yourself. But that might not be enough.
That's for DIYers. That's for people it's wonderful information. It's useful. Hopefully the course is transformative. I have an online course, the Sell Yourself Kit, and we've had people have amazing transformations. It's been wonderful. The best of the best invest in one-on-one with me, and they see remarkable things happen. In 4 months, my client Giselle has had massive things happen, and a group that's probably going to even exceed my own in size, because of the fact that it took me, since I was 19, and I'm an old lady now, 7 years, to learn all this shit about marketing, persuasion, communication, yada yada, right? And the fact that I was able to say to her, because she's she was all in, she was like, Jesus, take the wheel, just tell me what to do, and I trust you, I'll do it. I can say to her, I can shepherd her, I can say, she's like, should I do this? I'm like, do not do that. Do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. Imagine if you're walking through a dark, crazy forest and you have to feel for everything yourself. You could probably get to the other side in 10 years.
That's it, because it just makes
it
so much longer.
That says, hey, there's a snake there, don't touch that. Hey, there's a rock there, step on that, right? It's really remarkable. And so it takes confidence to say yes to yourself. When I'm on a discovery call with someone, and if they're kind of a little hesitant, that's their doubting themselves. I have zero doubt in myself. And so you're not saying yes or no to me, you're saying yes or no to yourself.
I love this. Guys, if you're selling anything, whether it's coaching, whether it's online courses, whether it's any services, that's the way you should think. It sounds that they're doubting. They're not doubting you. They're doubting themselves.
They're
really
scared.
Are.
This whole thing is decision making. Selling is helping people with their decision making, right? And so understand why decision making is hard. We've been screwed over before. We've had negative, painful experiences. We've bought things that we didn't use, and we felt stupid after. We are buying a service, and so it's basically a promise, and a promise requires trust. So do they really trust you? You have to put yourself in the shoes of your prospects and understand that they need some experience of you. On average, it takes 7 to 9 experiences of you, impressions of you, before they're ready to leap in, or they're ready to say, "No, this is not my person. Goodbye." And either way is totally fine.
That's true.
But it takes those deep impressions of you, deep experiences of you, so they can build the trust. So they can say, this person's not going to just hit and run. They're with me. They're on the same team as me. My VIP clients, the reason I'm selective is because I don't half-ass things. They're my partner in crime for life. Even after we're done working together, I have an amazing client. Well, let's call him Sam. He and I meet every year for coffee. And he says to me, Paloma, I'm glad that I got you when you were young and way less expensive, I love it. He's flying. He was one of those people. He was an engineer. And the kind of crazy thing is he had all these presentations to give in his work to these big groups of important people or whatever the hell that means, right? And he wanted to just go up there and say his credentials, say hey, I'm trained in blah, blah, blah. You don't have to prove yourself. Don't tell them shit. Show them, right? I said to him, I dare you to be interesting because I know you as a person and I know that you're an interesting person. I know that you're a funny person. So why can't you be the person that you are with your friends, with your coach, with the people who know you in front of other people? They want to know you too. They want to get close to you too. And so we developed this hilarious story that he started his presentation off with. And the first ever line that he said is, he's like, Paloma, actually it's hard to get these people attention because it's a lunch and learn kind of thing. And they have pizza on the back table. And he's like, I'm literally competing with pizza in my presentation. How can I do that? I said, great. Then your first slide it is, hey guys, I'm really worried today because I have to be more interesting than, next slide, that slice of pizza in your hand. And he has boxing gloves, a picture of his face making a funny face versus a slice of pizza. Then he goes to, but I think I've got you because I got a really cool story to tell you. He's like, it was 3 a.m. and I looked beside me and my wife wasn't there. Oh my God, where was she? I went downstairs and I saw her in front of the computer at 3 a.m. with this blue light on her face. I didn't know what was going on. What do you think that she was looking at? And then he gets the audience to say, porn, or whatever it is, they say, right? He says, no, she was looking at a Vitamix blender. Why was she looking at a Vitamix blender that late at night? Well, as she explained to me, you put the exact same ingredients in, but the processing system spits out a way better tomato soup or a way better cheese dip, right? And he says, that's exactly like our new technology that we developed as our team. We have the exact same data, but a whole new processing system, right? So, yes, data processing sounds really freaking boring. And he just wanted to go the route of, hey guys, we came up with a solution for this, yada, 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 right? You are not entitled to anybody's attention. You are not entitled, especially in this freaking over-contented world, right?
This is so true. You know, I honestly, I'll tell you, my best live videos were videos where I made complete balls of everything I was doing, and I've got so many fans and so many friends and so many sales from me just making balls of forgetting what I need to say.
And don't forget the creepy direct messages from random men on the internet. Don't forget those.
Oh no, I don't get them anymore. I think they got the message. I haven't got a creepy message. However, I will tell you the story that I have been managing. I've managed so many Facebook pages in my life. Like one of them was a lingerie shop, and I have received horrendous images from men. You can guess what. And every time I see, so you can imagine, so every time I see a message from a man that I don't know with questionable kind of like, why are they even here? Do you want a visa or something? And I'm afraid to open that message because I've been traumatized before. And that's about, sending messages. They can be horrible.
At the end of the day, just goes to show, like, put yourself out there. And I mean, listen, figure out your message. And the world ends up being a mirror of you. I'm not talking about those creepy dudes who just, like, randomly... Not talking about that. But just in general, like, if the kinds of people who come to you are the kinds of people who always say, I don't have money to do this, then perhaps your messaging needs to be adjusted, or you need to be very clear. Like, in my case, I don't work with the cheapies. Like, I don't work with the freebies and the cheapies. If you want my free content, join the Badass Communicators Club. Other than that, if you want to experience me, like, I can't give you an incredible transformation through you private messaging me and saying, hey, Paloma, can I pick your brain? No, you can't. Come into the Badass Communicators Club and post a question, right? But it would be doing a disservice to you, to anyone who private messages me and says, like, I just want to ask a couple quick questions, to not give you a deep, meaningful experience, right? And so as a result, I charge high, and I know that, and I attract people who are ready to offer that, right? Because they understand, like, you got to put some skin in the game. But at the end of the day, visibility, confidence are fundamental to your ability to attract the right people into your life. And everything's possible, friends. Don't count yourself out the running. Don't. Even if you're scared, guess what? Everyone's scared. Tony Robbins, I believe, gets scared. Seth Godin gets scared. Tim Ferriss gets scared. Have you guys seen Tim Ferriss's weird beard situation going on now? If you haven't, go look it up. Do you know why he did that?
No.
He grew out this I heard an interview of his recently. He grew out this weird beard mustache thing because he wants to desensitize himself to internet criticism. He did it on purpose because he knows that he looks sort of weird with it. And he wanted to get comfortable with receiving you look so stupid, whatever. To develop that kind of thick skin.
That's a great, yeah, exactly. You'll grow. The more you get it, the less you actually care about it. So
yeah, I mean, he's trained in the realm of Stoic philosophy, which, is about not being so affected by the outside stimulus, the way that other people perceive you, the way that other people experience you, right? Like, they explain how you can sort of desensitize yourself to things that you're afraid of. One, through exposure, but two, break it down to its constituent pieces. So if you're afraid of high ticket sales, for example, get comfortable with the teeny little pieces. Is it really hard to pick up a phone? No. Is it really hard to dial their number? No. Is it hard to say hello, yada yada? No. Is it hard to say a number? No. Is it hard to deal with someone saying, I'm not sure, yada yada? No, you've dealt with people who've had Is it hard to follow up? No. Break it up into the little pieces. And if that's hard, then break those up into even smaller pieces, and just, you don't have to, I guess my message of the day is, you don't have to be comfortable, and you shouldn't be comfortable. If you want to be a confident person, if you want to sell yourself.
Oh, and she with this message, she just freezes and leaves us hanging, so we don't know what she wants to say. You just froze. So,
oh no!
So your message got cut off in the middle, but so don't be afraid, be confident,
and just realize that the extent to which you are rewarded is the extent to which you take risks. Simple, okay? If we're gonna graph all of the things that we've all of the amazing things that we've experienced in our lives, it is not a coincidence whatsoever that your highest moments of triumph came right beside your highest moments of, I'm going to do this thing that I'm scared of and I'm going to do it anyways. It's not a coincidence. And so, you know, there's thinking pain and there's doing pain. The thinking is like all this catastrophizing, like, what if they don't like it? What if they don't like it? Pat yourself on the back that you put it out there. That's enough. Great. Now you either get money or you get data, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I that's how I deal with the rejection, or if something like if I launch something and not that much is happening from the launch, that's okay. No problem at all. Now I know maybe I can see some mistakes. Maybe I can see that, you know, I have to change something. It's so good to get that kind of.
Ask your people questions.
Yeah.
If you gotta know, literally use it as market research. Say to them, was it blank? Was it blank? Was it blank? And just let them know, I am so open to feedback. You will not hurt me. Like, I want the honest truth. Why did you pass on this opportunity? And they'll tell you. I literally had, okay, it's funny. I did this project. It wasn't a paid thing. It was just a kind of fun project that I was doing in the Badass Communicators Club, where I was setting up entrepreneurs on entrepreneurial blind dates. We're going to do, nobody knows this except Juliet's audience, but we're going to do another round coming up soon. Right now we're doing guest teachers, where people are coming in, and we have, I don't know, like 50 people signed up to teach, and we've had our first 2 people teaching about confidence in sales. But I did this thing, entrepreneurial blind date, right? And there was one dude in the group that I messaged him, and he was a very active participant in the group. And I said to him, like, why did you decide, I'm just curious, why did you decide not to participate in this? And he was just like, I'm like really, he just said it, he's like, I'm really antisocial and I don't like people. Or something like that. But it's fine. But then the useful thing is, like, now I have information about, it wasn't because of X, it was because of Y. And that's really useful, right? If you understand what people's objections are, you can either move on, because if they're the person who's like, literally, Paloma, I can't pay my bills, I'm like, well, you shouldn't be in my, like, you're not my person that I'm trying to serve anyways, because I'm trying to help the people who are, like, ready to go meaningful, big transformation, right? So it's okay. Like, no is just the lead-in for some information, really. And don't take it personally. Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank says the #1 piece of advice that helped her survive this crazy world of entrepreneurship is, don't take anything personally. Way easier said than done, but try your best, friends.
But possible, yeah, possible. You know, even if you get upset for 5 minutes, then get over it. You know, it's okay. You know, as long as you are getting over it eventually, I think it's okay. I actually have that principle of 3 days. Like, if any kind of trauma happens, 3 days. First day, cry your eyes out. Second day, you just kind of cope. Third day, you move on. And I apply that to absolutely every situation. And, you know, you don't have to take 3 days. 3 hours is enough.
Do you have, like, a stress binge food? A food that you're like,
oh my God. Every night. Wine. I'm not joking. I'm still still hasn't started my New Year's resolution of not drinking wine every night and exercising. I've exercised once the day before yesterday. But the wine I love.
You exercised once, clap for yourself.
Wine for me is not the stress binge food, but it's like anything, and I love it. And
a fruit smoothie, darling. It's a fruit smoothie.
But it is. It's good. I'm talking moderation. I'm talking just like share a bottle with your husband, like, or something. It's good for you. It breaks up all the fat. It actually makes your brain works better. I really think that it's good for you, you know.
Your makeup so beautifully, so something is working. Honestly.
I know. Yes. Something is working, but you can only see me above the waist.
I was literally like, should I wear pajama pants? I'm so comfortable today. But I put on real pants.
That's nice. And she froze again, because maybe she's lying. I'd say she's wearing yoga pants there. I don't know. Guys, look, when you're an entrepreneur online, you can do whatever you want below the waist. That doesn't matter. You just froze again, by the way, so I think maybe you're not wearing the real pants.
Now, darling, is it okay now?
Yes, it's all perfect now.
Okay,
listen,
perfect.
I think we might wrap up now, guys. It was an amazing hour. I think that we went beyond the lazy versus fear topic that we chose, and there's so much goodness in this. I love Paloma. I love having Paloma. I'm going to have Paloma again on my show, and definitely the marriage thing is going to happen someday, and someday I'm going to come to Canada.
might
and
just
she's
have
gonna
to
cook for
have
me.
like an online entrepreneur wedding. So if you would like to, cook us, like, I don't know, cook us some wine.
Yes,
That would be
well,
lovely.
I'm telling you, I'm going to. I'll see how we get on. But the moment I get the travel freedom from this location, I'm going to travel to all my favorite people, and you all have to cook me dinners.
I will take you out for sushi, and then the next day I will cook you.
Oh
lunch.
yes, definitely, because I like to eat. Okay,
But
guys.
you know what? I love to feed people, so that's a good combination. At my entrepreneur party, I really I was just like, okay, most people do like the chips and dip. I'm like, come on.
No.
I literally made like homemade pizza for them. I made tortellini.
Nice.
I made like an amazing bean dip. Like, yeah, sangria.
That's lovely. That just
on.
sounds too good to be true. That just sounds too good to be true. I might have to go now and get a bottle of wine. But I have another interview coming up now in a couple of minutes. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you took away tons from this. I did. And thank you so much, Paloma, for sharing your awesomeness. Awesome sauce, as London Porter would say. It's brilliant. I will see you very, very soon. And have a great day, everybody. Bye. Bye.